Welcome to Under Two Capes. I'm Jared, and Lad's out today, so I figured I'd get you guys a nice episode. So today we are going to talk about, by popular demand, by that I mean my good friend Night Sky Wonder requested I cover this, so thank you, Night Sky. So anyway, we are going to cover the romantic history of Superman and Wonder Woman. Now, first, I got to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. So, just need to take off my sweatshirt. So, anyway, to establish context, in 2011, DC decided, okay, you know what? To fix all the continuity problems that we have, let's just reboot the continuity. Let's just wipe the slate clean. And that's where we got Flashpoint and all that. It was also a way of bringing in new people, because the problem with Marvel is that when you say, okay, I want to start reading Spider-Man, you have 60 years of stuff you got to wade through. With the new 52, what that allowed for was, like, say me, I started the new 52. It was easier for me to jump on the comic book train and start reading because pretty much I had to get Superman #1 from 2011. That's it. The origins are there. The actions are there. Now, a couple of things they decided to do is change a couple of things, because actually the new 52 started with Superman. Because what they did was they were like, okay, let's update Superman because he seems not to be that relevant anymore. So they started to look about how do we change it and make him, to update him for the more modern audiences. That's where we got like the Kryptonian armor, which I think was a dope idea. I freaking love that. I still maintain that new 52 Superman had the best costume, because I liked how it opened with his thoughts, kind of like Iron Man from Infinity War and Endgame. But I also liked how it didn't have the stupid red trunks. That's why I also like the Rebirth costume and the Reborn costume. When Bendis came on and he put those shorts on, I was like, oh my gosh, Bendis, really? And actually, that was actually most people's response to Bendis' Superman, but that's besides the point. If I was a Superman writer, that's the first thing I would get rid of, among other things. So one of the things that they wanted to change is, okay, so you know what? Superman's been with Lois Lane for like 70 years at this point. So let's like update that too. So they had it where Clark Kent had a crush on Lois, but never made his move. So they thought, okay, if he's not going to be with Lois Lane, who's the next logical choice? And they said, well, it's Wonder Woman. So generally the idea was they decided, okay, so let's put them together, because we've never had the main continuity Superman and Wonder Woman together. There have been books in the past where that happened, like Dark Knight Returns, that era of Superman, Batman, but also Superman. He's with Wonder Woman. Kingdom Come, he's with Wonder Woman. Injustice, he's with Wonder Woman. There have been some stories where they've explored the possibility of a relationship, but they've never really taken that step. So naturally, this was a new thing. And this is actually one of the things that got me to start reading comics, because at the time, I was starting a comic book drawing class. Still can't draw for hell, but anyway. So I was starting a comic book drawing class, and I was on Facebook one night, just hanging out, and then I saw the announcement that Superman and Wonder Woman had kissed, and they were that was the new thing. They're going to be in a relationship. So I thought, well, that's interesting. I've never seen that before, because yes, Superman and Lois Lane. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. So that's when I got like the first comic book that I could get that had them together, which was Trinity War, which that was my first DC comic ever. That's why that I will always love that graphic novel. It's what started all of this, besides the Snyder Cut. So anyway, started reading that, and then I read the actual series by Charles Soule that Lad and I actually went over on the show, and I'll be sure to put a link to it up here. So if you want to see us discuss that storyline, you can. We even did a full debate on Superman Wonder Woman or Batman Wonder Woman, which one makes more sense. So anyway, that's generally the idea. But like I hinted at, the hints of them being together goes back, like, I'd say really far back. Let me put it that way. So I have this article from supermanhomepage.com. It's entitled Superman and Wonder Woman, A Visual History of Romance. So I'm going to read this article and we're going to discuss it as we go along. Okay, so when it comes to Superman and relationships, most people automatically think Lois and Clark. From the very first issue of Action Comics, way back in 1938, Lois Lane has been a love interest for Clark Kent's Superman. Lois even had her own comic book titled Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane. They have that on DC Universe. You should probably check that out sometime. But Lois hasn't always been the only woman for Superman or Clark Kent has been romantically involved with. The most obvious inclusions are Lana Lang and Lori Lemaris. Lori Lemaris, for those of you that don't know, and this was hinted at in Frank Miller's Superman Year One, she's a mermaid. So there's that. So there's Lori Lemaris. While longtime fans will list others, including Lila Larole, Sally Selwing, Lyrica Lloyd, Luma Line, Cat Grant, and Maxima, just name a few. Maxima was basically a Wonder Woman-like character in the Justice League. Then there's Wonder Woman. With the 2012 announcement that Superman and Wonder Woman would become romantically involved from the issue number 12 of Justice League, I thought I'd take a look back at the parents couple. So Superman and Wonder Woman announced they're engaged to be married, and are seen kissing and declaring their love for one another in the story Wonder Woman Miss Superman from Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane number 136 in 1974. But it was all a ploy to save Lois from the Revenger. So it was in a main book, but it wasn't like legit. In the story titled Super Prisoners of Love from DC Comics 32, to DC Comics Presents, when the god Eros is rejected by Wonder Woman, he makes her and Superman fall in love with each other. Eros is the goddess of love once again. He's basically the baby that you always see during like Valentine's Day. He's basically Cupid, I believe. In Wonder Woman 300, in a story entitled Beautiful Dreamer, Death Unto Thee, Wonder Woman dreams, among other things, about what her life would have been like if she'd married Superman. In the famous story For the Man Who Has Everything, written by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, this was actually adapted into a Justice League Unlimited episode by the same title. It was fantastic. It's where basically the premise of that storyline is, so it's Superman's birthday, and Wonder Woman and Batman are flying to the Fortress of Solitude to spend it with him because they're his closest friends. They get there and he has this plant attached to him. It's the Black Mercy plant, which basically it feeds off of you, but to keep you docile while it feeds on you, it like puts you in a dream state where you dream out your heart's desire. And that for Clark was if Krypton had never exploded. He had a wife, he had a kid and everything. And then eventually he had to let it all go and could come back to the land of the living. And this is when, so Mongol is the one who dropped the plant off to take out Superman. He's destroying Wonder Woman. Superman breaks out of the dream and then just not impresses Mongol to the yin yang. And for those of you that don't know, from now on, that's going to be a thing on this podcast. Whenever Superman completely like beats the hell out of a villain, we're going to call it not impressing him. After that, what I still maintain is the greatest Superman moment ever put to screen is that moment from the Snyder Cut where the axe comes down and Superman just goes not impressed and just completely annihilates Steppenwolf. So anyway, that's the story. So in the storyline, Wonder Woman gives Superman a kiss for his birthday. Well, that's a hell of a birthday present, with Superman wondering why the two of them don't kiss more often. I mean, you can. I get the feeling she wouldn't say no. And then Superman put a kiss on Wonder Woman in Action Comics 600 in 1988, in the story entitled Different Worlds, catching Wonder Woman off guard. Superman awkwardly admits to having thought about Diana constantly since first meeting her, even admitting that to having an intense dream about her. Oh boy. Well, so Wonder Woman admits to also having feelings for Superman. The two agree to remain friends to give Wonder Woman more time to settle into man's world. Ha ha. Yeah, so it's always been a thing that they liked each other. With Lois Lane having been dead for many years, Superman and Wonder Woman get together in the 4-issue miniseries Kingdom Come, which we are going to cover on the podcast. In fact, that may be the next storyline that we cover, because you have Mark Waid's fantastic writing of this Elseworld story. Then on top of that, you have probably, short of Jim Lee, I just prefer Jim Lee more, the greatest DC Comics artist of all time, Alex Ross. I mean, oh my gosh. I will do that, and that'll be a big visual episode, so you guys can see all the art. Because what he does is when he colors a book, he actually paints it, so it looks like a painting, like a Norman Rockwell painting. In fact, Alex Ross has been called the Norman Rockwell of comic books, and he so is. A lot of famous comic book art has been done by him. Okay, so 1998 saw the publication of an Elseworlds graphic novel titled Distant Fires, in which civilization is destroyed by nuclear war, and Clark Kent is forced to live in a life of solitude, having buried his friends in Metropolis. Years later, Superman and Wonder Woman discover one another, become close, and eventually fall in love. The two are later married and have a child together. I should see if I could find that graphic novel. In the 2001 to 2002 Dark Knight Strikes Again by Frank Miller, Superman and Wonder Woman have a daughter named Lara. Yeah, so what's in that book? Okay, so Dark Knight Returns is the book that revitalized Batman. And this universe continuity, that the Millerverse that I call it, is basically the inspiration for the Snyderverse. That's why you have like a brutal Batman and all the superheroes kill people. But anyway, in there, Superman and Wonder Woman are together. Even in the graphic novel, prequel, All-Star Batman and Robin, Superman and Wonder Woman are fighting, and then they just make out. And I'm like, okay, but that's a fan of that pairing. I'm like, okay, I can see that. But yeah, I love Frank Miller's work, even though Dark Knight Strikes Again was not the best in that series. Still like that inclusion. And then the couple continues on in the book Dark Knight Returns, The Master Race, and in Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child, because it's all in that series and such. The 2003 Elseworlds 3-issue miniseries Superman Red Sun saw Wonder Woman enamored of Superman, but he only considered her as a comrade and most oblivious of her love for him. So, and I've had this conversation with Night Sky. I still have to get her on the podcast. This would be so much fun. But anyway, DC has routinely, ever since they put the kibosh on the main continuity relationship in 2016, they've been trying to make people forget that they were ever together whatsoever, to the point where they're wipe out continuity. And in this, so they did the animated movie of Red Sun, which, short of what I'm about to tell you here, was fantastic. They had it where Superman wants Wonder Woman, but she's gay, which that's fine, but you change a part of the storyline that was part of of Wonder Woman's character. That's why she goes so long with Superman down that road, and they become dictators. And then eventually she breaks off because she realizes Superman doesn't love her; he loves power. That's it. In 2003's DC: The New Frontier, which is basically all of the superheroes in the Vietnam era, written and drawn by Darwin Cook. I have to get this book. Superman kisses Wonder Woman as she lies dying in his arms. She doesn't die. She's just badly wounded. Frank Miller also had the two characters share a passionate kiss in issue 5 of All-Star Batman and Robin. Superman wants to arrest Batman while Wonder Woman wants to kill him. Big surprise there. It's implied that the two have romantic feelings for each other, but the issue or what to do with Batman leads to a heated argument, which leads to a kiss. The late Mike Renego must have been a fan of Superman and Wonder Woman being romantically involved, drawing pieces of art showing the two embracing. And then, yeah, there's been plenty of merchandise on this relationship. So anyway, so that's the first part. Now, there's this one other storyline that actually is not on this list that I actually remember for reading on DC Universe. It's just flipped through my thing, my feed, where an asteroid. Now I skimmed through the storyline, so I probably aren't getting a lot of the plot points correct, but just bear with me. So an asteroid like flies by Earth, and then the radiation strips the superhumans of their powers, like completely annihilates them. So the heroes deal with it in their own way. Even the Green Lantern ring doesn't work for some reason, but anyway, Batman basically recruits members of the League and to create another Justice League because the League disbands. Superman becomes a depressed alcoholic because he can't be a hero anymore. And then he gets with Wonder Woman. And then they eventually get married after having like a rough go. And they eventually have a kid that has superpowers. So anyway, that's another less known Elseworlds DC storyline where they put the two together. I'm going to bring this up. Here's a big problem that I had with fandom. With like here's a inconsistency I've noted in comic book fandom. One of the major complaints that I hear from like comic book fans is that DC and Marvel never do anything new with their characters. It's always the same thing over and over again. They always rehash old stories. But when DC and Marvel try new things, like this relationship, they're like, that's not Superman, that's not Wonder Woman, that's not this, that's not that. So I'm like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's at this point, these characters have existed for 70 years, and you want the same characters, so, you don't want them to age out. I'm just like, come on, guys, you have to be a little consistent with your arguments. And I understand the whole Lois Lane thing, but see, I'm not a fan of Lois Lane as a character. I never really got her point. And I think, once again, Justice League number 12, which was the issue talked about in this article, brought it up perfectly. Here's why Superman and Wonder Woman work together more than Lois and Superman. Because in Justice League 12 of the new 52, Wonder Woman's at the Lincoln Memorial. I'll put the link in. I'll put the card to go to that episode here. But so in that episode, in that issue, Wonder Woman sitting on the Lincoln Memorial. She's just finally broken up with Steve Trevor, or like told him to stay away from her, essentially. So Superman lands. They have this conversation. Wonder Woman brings up about how she feels so isolated from everyone else because she's a superhero, God tier superhero, and no one can really relate to her and all that. Superman basically tells her, I know exactly what you feel like, because even though I have a secret identity and I try to live among these people, there's only like so far I can go. I'll never really be like them. And then Wonder Woman says the iconic line, which was echoed in the Throne of Atlantis movie: we're not like the gods, but we're not like them either. We're not like anyone. And they say, and then they basically kiss. Because ultimately what this reason why this works is because with Superman, he has to be Clark Kent. Even if Bendis makes him reveal his identity, which was the stupidest decision you could have. That's one of the many stupid decisions Bendis made in that book. I can't. That's one of the other major things. I would find a way to just wipe that reveal. Basically, I would de-Bendis Superman, like completely eliminate all traces of Bendis' Superman, especially John Kent as a teenager, because it's like we had a good thing going with him being a kid with Super Sons. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, because with a non-superhero, Superman always has to maintain that Clark Kent persona. With Wonder Woman, he doesn't have to hide any part of himself. He can be Superman, he could be Clark Kent, but he doesn't have to hide who he is. That's why that relationship works. They don't need secret identities around each other. This is the one time where they can be who they really are. That's why it works. That's why ultimately Lois Lane thing doesn't work, because even though she knows Clark Kent Superman, he still can't be his full self around her. I'm not talking about bad room relations or anything like that. I'm just talking about ultimately he's still holding part of himself back. I've always detected that from the comic books and the movies. That's just it. That's just the way I see it. And with Wonder Woman, he can be his true self. That's it. That's why I think that relationship works so much better than Superman and Lois Lane. And then even that's why it works better than Wonder Woman and Batman, because with Batman, he's the antithesis, the distinct antithesis to Wonder Woman. Now, granted, I get the whole opposites attract thing. The issue is when they're this opposite, no, particularly no killing thing. Batman practically disowned Jason Todd because he started killing people. Wonder Woman's been very, very willing to kill people. So that alone, and the fact that Batman has contingency plans to take out members of the Justice League. So I'm like, come on, guys. This is really simple here. But anyway, not going to go into that. So next, I think what I will do is orally relate to you. Now, actually, here's what I want to do. Let's discuss Kingdom Come. Now, this is also what happened where we see interesting components of why the Superman Wonder Woman relationship works, because so in that storyline, the Joker kills Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, basically takes out the Daily Planet. On his trial day, he's killed by a superhero called Magog. I hesitate to use the word superhero. If you're watching the video show, you know I'm doing air quotes. So now, then because the public rallies around Magog killing supervillains, Superman just steps away from humanity. And the whole thing goes to hell really fast because these superheroes take out the villains, or the villains stop being villains, and then the superheroes just fight in the middle of the city. That's it. And there's like collateral damage up the yazoo. So anyway, Superman is away from humanity, but then Wonder Woman comes to see him, and she's the one that gets him to come back and start being Superman again. In other words, she really is responsible for the resurrection of Superman, really, to that point. In Dark Knight Returns, switching to that. Okay. Now, it's very obvious that this is an Elseworlds book, because Wonder Woman is much more aggressive in this universe, which I like. It's more in line with her character, really. So anyway, in this one, Superman and Wonder Woman have a kid. Her name is Laura. And she's always felt that humans are below them, to the point where in Dark Knight Returns, the Master Race, these Kryptonians escape from the Battle City of Kandor and start attacking the world. And Lara is involved with the leader romantically, and she is on their side. Eventually, she switches over to follow Clark, but then and then she basically tells Superman, "Okay, teach me how to do it like you do it, because I want to basically learn to be human like you do." So he teaches her. And then in The Golden Child, she kind of does a 180 and goes back to thinking humankind is beneath them. And then eventually she takes the right path. Now we're going to Injustice. In Injustice, okay, so this was a much more evil Wonder Woman. And what I mean by that is DC did, as part of their Injustice title line, which is following that entire storyline, they did a sort of one-shot, like prequel comic, which showed Wonder Woman, the origin of Injustice Wonder Woman. It was very similar to the movie, in that we see her like charging machine guns and all that. But then also we find out, so they decide, okay, so we need to interrogate these people. So Wonder Woman goes, we'll go to Themyscira and get the lasso of truth. So they do that. And Steve Trevor ends up killing an Amazon And then Wonder Woman wraps the lasso around his neck and makes him reveal that he's actually a Nazi spy. And then he kills her. I mean, she kills him. And then it's showing why Wonder Woman is such a evil character in that game. Because arguably, Wonder Woman is the villain of Injustice. And what I mean by that is, yes, Superman had that moment killing the Joker. It could have stopped there. But you see in the comic books, she pushes him along this path. And she keeps encouraging him down this path where he becomes the brutal dictator, because she keeps encouraging him to take all these actions that eventually make killing easier and easier and easier. So really, that's why I think Wonder Woman and Injustice 2 even basically implies this when she's exposed to Scarecrow's fear toxin. Superman attacks her and says, I came to you when Lois died, and you basically manipulated me and turned me into something I'm not meant to be. And then actually, Jonathan Crane goes, oh, I see what your fear is. You fear you corrupted Superman. That is the point there. That is 100. That's that universe's relationship to Superman. And once again, they've always established that the two had feelings for each other and all that. You had, like, in the DC animated movie universe, you had, which is basically their new 52 movie verse, kind of, that went to like a rebirth style like thing, which started off with Superman and Wonder Woman being in a relationship. It was implied in War, because in War you have the whole "you're strong, I know" line. And then you had what was it? And then you had and then you had Throne of Atlantis, which was their establishing the relationship. Then you had Justice League versus Teen Titans, which was them going on a date. I always felt that they needed their own like movie, Superman and Wonder Woman. I thought that'd be really cool. And then here's the issue. They had them break up off screen. And then all of a sudden Superman's with Lois Lane in the Death of Superman. And I'm like, the heck? It was jarring for me, because this is before that's any footage of the movie came out. And I'm watching it. I'm watching the trailers, and it shows Superman clearly with Lois Lane. Even the behind the scenes stuff shows him with Lois Lane. And I'm like, that doesn't line up well. I mean, I thought, wait a second. And then I saw the clip and I'm like, oh, that is a real a-hole move, DC. Yeah, off screen, really? You really had to do it off screen. That's real classy, DC. Thanks. Oh my gosh. Obviously, I'm still a little PO'd at that. But that's the movie universe. In the DC animated universe, which was basically the Batman animated series universe. They basically made it like Wonder Woman, like Batman, for no reason. And then, so they did that, which I felt was kind of weak. They didn't really give me a solid argument as, they never gave me a solid argument as to how this, as to how Batman and Wonder Woman belong together. It made no sense. So I pulled up an article from Comic Book Review that's going to talk about how DC's most controversial couple broke up. So this is the romantic history in the New 52. I've gone through pre-New 52. And by the way, the relationship was heavily implied by William Moulton Marston, according to Night Sky. And that I believe that it was always the plan that Wonder Woman and Superman would get together at some point. So it wasn't like it was just New 52. There you go. Let's do this. It was always sort of a hinted plan, which is why they hinted that like they really like each other and stuff. So anyway, so here it is. After the New 52 reboot, everything about the DC universe seemed to change overnight. From lifetime histories being erased to radical new designs and personal dynamics for established heroes, every corner of the DC universe went through some degree of change. The New 52 was kind of odd because they said, like, Okay, so they've been superheroes for 5 years, but Batman still had five Robins, and Blackest Night still happened, even though a lot of the heroes from Blackest Night don't exist in this universe. So I'm like, okay. So DC went through it, and one of the most noteworthy and controversial changes of this era was the short-lived romance between Superman and Wonder Woman. It wasn't controversial; it was actually a very high-selling comic. I've seen the numbers. Even though both those heroes are normally involved with Lois Lane and Steve Trevor, both superheroes were no longer attached to their classic love interests in the comic and were free to transition their friendship and working relationship as teammates on the Justice League into a romantic one. After years of controversy, the relationship would ultimately come to an end before the conclusion of the New 52 era. It didn't really come to an end. Actually, it didn't come to an end until Rebirth, when that Superman died. They were still together. So I don't know what they're talking about. So even though, okay, so here's the article. In an effort to reinvigorate characters who'd been around for the better part of a century, DC redefined many of its long-standing romantic relationships with its own fair share of controversy. One of the most visible was keeping characters from entering into marriage, from Batwoman and Maggie Sawyer breaking off their engagement to Aquaman and Mara's relationship retconned as a long-term one outside the bonds of matrimony. That was weird for me too. These changes would extend to Clark Kent and Lois Lane no longer be married, and Lois in a live-in relationship with another man, while Steve Trevor's feelings for Diana Prince would largely go unreciprocated, and he would basically go into stalker mode, which was really creepy. This cleared Clark and Diana to enter their own high-profile relationship. When this relationship was first revealed as the two shared a passionate kiss in the final moments of the 2012 Justice League number 12, fans were vocally divided about the romantic development between these two characters. Many preferred them back either of their established love interests, which once again is kind of disingenuous, seeing that fans are always calling for these characters to oh my gosh, we need DC should do more new things with these characters. They never do that because you guys freak out when they do. So well, the other dynamic between the two was best the platonic one. Okay, DC would capitalize on the buzz by giving the characters their own team-up series, Superman, Wonder Woman, that would further explore the two's burgeoning romance as they combated powerful threats together, including Doomsday and General Zod. The relationship would become strained and move towards eventual rupture when Superman's secret identity was publicly reported by Lois. Again, which is why I don't like Lois Lane. Superman's identity had been discovered by the villainous Holder Root and used to blackmail him, or Holder Root, whatever. After learning this, Lois Lane reported Superman's identity to take away the blackmail material and free Superman to confront the villain on his own terms. That's stupid. Of course, this would backfire horribly and strain Superman's relationship with Lois, which eventually led to his breakup with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman forcibly used her lasso of truth to interrogate Lois and determine why she divulged Superman's identity to the world. Superman vocally opposed this decision after he learned of it, which brought out a lot of tension between the two heroes eventually in regards to Superman's unresolved romantic feelings for Lois, which is stupid. As Wonder Woman desperately sought to make things right by restoring Superman's powers after he terribly lost them, Clark admitted that he wasn't sure that he actually loved Wonder Woman anymore and stressed that they both should focus on matters and let their romance fall by the wayside. The New 52 era would conclude with this incarnation of Superman's death, coinciding with the arrival of the pre-Flashpoint Superman and his family back in the DCU. As the subsequent DC Rebirth era commenced, Superman and Wonder Woman's history would be revised once again. This time, the two characters were retconned as never having been in romantic relationships, but instead just maintain a friendship in a working relationship. This removed any past drama. Okay, this was really stupid. It was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, thanks a lot, DC. You really, really, really just messed it up. It was really, really annoying that they did this, because it's like, and the lengths that they went to like completely eliminate it from ever existing. I'm like, the heck are you doing? This is really, really stupid. I mean, I get that you may not like it that much, but So you're telling me that um you want to alienate all the fans that like this material too. And you have a multiverse. Just make it another Earth. That's what Doomsday Clock did. And that's why I love that book so much, even though it's dense and took forever to come out. But anyway, that's what Doomsday Clock did. It basically said the new 52 era is on its own Earth. So if you want to read the new 52 stories, they matter again. And then DC, in their infinite wisdom, passed up this really weird idea called the Omniverse. Everything matters, where every story is canon. So here's the issue with that. A lot of stories contradict each other. So they're all canon. The heck. So I don't understand that. But so that's the new 52 romantic history. They're wrong in that they said the relationship ended. It didn't really end in the true storyline. It was strained, but it didn't end because they were back together as soon as Superman got his powers back and everything got his mojo back, essentially. Because really what it was is that, so let's focus on this. Let's focus on the task at hand. And at the time, that was fighting Vandal Savage. And yeah, the relationship kind of fell to the wayside, but they never really broke up. If they did, they got back together pretty much immediately. It's really weird. So that's the romantic history of Superman and Wonder Woman. I hope that I have at least encourage you guys to look at it a little more favorably, because ultimately it was a great idea. One that was popular, because if you look at the comic book sales, the series, not just the first issue, the series sold really, really well. And I think that what DC should do is that they're pretty obviously going towards some type of crisis, which they sorely need right now to reboot, clean up all the BS that they've been doing that's annoying and just contradictory. Get rid of the whole Omniverse thing, because that makes no sense. You don't have to eliminate it, but don't reference it. But so that's what I think they should do in the new thing. Do the Superman Wonder Woman relationship, but commit to it, saying we're doing it. That's what we're gonna do. That's it. So that's my thing. Now, once again, I've talked about why I like it. Now, I want to hear what you guys think of the relationship. So in the comments, or you can shoot us an email at comicsleague2020@gmail.com. Or in the comments or on Instagram at comicsleague2021. Send us a message and tell us what you think about it. If you're against it, if you're for it, if you're indifferent about it. Tell me let's see. Tell me what you like about the relationship, what you don't like about the relationship. If there's any parts of their romantic history that I missed, tell me. If you guys if you guys agree with me that it would be a nice thing to have right now, that relationship now. So, and once again, so that's the romantic history. I think it was a new idea for one, and a new idea that I think was pretty successful to the point where it has leaked into other parts of DC lore. Oh, so interesting. So here's an article on Newsarama or A Games Radar that says, should Wonder Woman and Superman be a couple? DC has an answer again. Couldn't work a better question, should it? So let me see here. I'm seeing this RT's romance and some gets been followed up between the DC main continuity on Justice League 12, although apparently like her best. Okay. Yeah, just doing okay. No, Superman and Wonder Woman are in some ways equivalent to most people, but they never quite perfect romantic fit. I'm trying to find this thing real quick. The story plans solid. Oh, it's 1971. 2 years to set up on a date. Clark and his side to battle for his friends. Now, even they say Clark, we would never actually work. I mean, this is fun and all, but it's not real. No. That is really mean, DC. You see, once again, this is what I'm talking about. It's the same thing I was talking to the nice guy. DC routinely undermines this. Like, they go out of their way, like completely out of their way to completely undermine and like pretty much malign this relationship. They even changed in the DC Encyclopedia, in this section that talks about it, in the new edition of the DC Encyclopedia. Actually, I'll go grab it. So it's really, really annoying. And it's another thing that makes it hard to like DC sometimes. So I'm going to the Wonder Woman section. Let me go to that. It was one of the things that when I read it, it kind of hit me the wrong way. Let me pull that up. So I'm going to Wonder Woman. All right. Going to go there. Okay, Wonder Woman. So it says here, when Wonder Woman paired with a new 52 version of Superman, with whom she had just begun a romantic relationship to thwart, Wonder Woman partnered with the new 52 Superman, with whom she had just begun a romantic relationship to thwart General Zod's plan to extract Doomsday from the Phantom Zone. The last-ditch moves, she split an atom with her sword to destroy the Phantom Zone gate. We covered that storyline. Once again, I'll put it in the episode. While her relationship with Superman seemed easy and natural, it was not fated to last. Once again, they could have just said that they were in a relationship in this continuity. No. This is still DC going, guess what, guys? We don't care if you like this relationship. It's not going to happen. That's where I'm really just like, okay, this is really like stupid and really, really petty. DC and Warner Brothers have shown that they are extremely, extremely petty when it comes to this relationship. When it comes to the Snyderverse, I'm like, really? Oh, here's Screen Rant. Superman and Wonder Woman are DC's worst couple. Let's see these reasons. So they have the pre-crisis, post-crisis, New 52. I'm trying to see why they think that they are more than enough. It seems, it says something both characters want to as it seems themselves an alien. It's telling that the most alternate universe are them together are bad futures. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm just like, though writers seem to have fallen in love with the idea, it's less popular with fans. Unlike some heroes of Captain America, Batman, both Superman and Wonder Woman have fairly consistent. Now, I disagree. If you look at the sales, it's sold pretty well. More than need, though. It's something both characters want. Superman doesn't see him as an alien, doesn't see himself as above anyone. He loves Lois because she doesn't need power to do good. Wonder Woman, meanwhile, did grow up as a princess in a world, but Diana's character is all about trying to understand the world outside Paradise Island. Only falling for someone like Steve Trevor can she truly understand the way normal people live in. No, disagree. Again, I brought up these reasons, and it's really just, there you go. Oh, and this is the funny part too. So DC and Rebirth, DC Rebirth did the storyline in Brian Hitch's Justice League run, where the Justice League's kids come to the future, come from the future to basically warn the Justice League about impending doom. Among them is Hunter Prince, and who's Wonder Woman's son, but she also is wearing a Superman cape. So everyone's like, okay, it's Superman's son. So they do get together. Unfortunately, it's revealed that no. He wasn't actually a product of their relationship. Clark just adopted him. So DC is like, here you go. No, we're going to take it back. Really annoying, I think, when they do that. And once again, it's annoying when when DC and Warner are so petty. It really ticks me off a little bit. And this is again with the Snyderverse. It's just really annoying. And I think, honestly, and I've had this discussion with Nice Guy, I think that if DC announced a Superman Wonder Woman movie, obviously after the Snyderverse, because I want to see Zack at least get to finish his movies. That's it. That's all I want. Finish the movies, he can go. But anyway, if DC announced a Superman Wonder Woman movie, live action movie with Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot, I think that would be that would be cool. And I think it would really interest a lot of people and invigorate excitement for the DCEU. And it would inspire discussion like it did with the comic books, except on a larger scale. But DC is not willing to do things that would actually work, as evidenced by the Snyderverse, and Marvel is guilty of this too, their refusal to put ads for the comic books at the end of the movies. Like, what they should do is, at the end of the movie, they should go, okay, so if you want to read more about Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman, go to your local comic book shop. That's all they have to do. It could just be an infographic that like fades in on the screen that has like a Superman cover. It's got like all the comic book stuff. So for more about Superman, visit your local comic book shop. That's all you have to do, because there are plenty of people that think that these movies exist in a vacuum without comic books. So I'm like, guys, you could literally at least help the comic book industry, particularly the retail market for comic books. But no, once again, DC refuses to do this. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I really don't want to go on another rant. I went on a good one on the Under Two Capes news episode about the Snyderverse. Once again, what do you guys think about this relationship? Do you guys think I'm wrong? Do you guys think I'm right? Do you guys think it would be cool to see at least a movie about this? So that's all I got for right now. I think that's a good place to leave this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So for in terms of the YouTube channel, we're doing pretty well. We're going to be covering more amazing content in next week. I say next week because it's Saturday right now. We're going to be working on better planning out the other shows in the podcast. We may end up putting a couple of shows on hold so the videos don't like compete with each other, but we're considering that. And then we're going to do a lot of work on the YouTube channel and trying to build our audience so we can do more interacting with you guys through like community posts, live streams and such. And then we're going to put up a room tour where you could see my lovely office with all my DC collectibles, DC and Marvel collectibles. And I'm trying to get Lad to start a Bionicle lore show. Drop in the comments if you'd like to see that too, because I think that'd be really fun. Lad knows a lot. Lad knows pretty much about the same amount of Bionicle knowledge as I have with DC knowledge. That's about it. It's about it, I would say. And then that's about it with what we're going to do in terms of next week's episode. We're probably going to end up doing a story. I'm thinking I might do. I'm going to plan it. We're going to do Kingdom Come next week. So be on the lookout for DC's Kingdom Come next week, where we'll discuss not only the Superman Wonder Woman relationship, but easily one of the greatest stories in all of comic books. And I mean all of comic books, which is the awesome sort of Injustice style story, Kingdom Come. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week for more Comics League goodness. All right, stay heroic, everyone. Bye-bye.